All right, everyone, welcome back, welcome in. If this is your first time, happy to have you. If you have been here before, welcome back. As I said, happy to have you back. Today I am doing this lovely butter yellow gradated ombre French with a white accent line. There are several different aspects to it that we will go through. First I prepared my right hand with my backfill as usual. Little bit of a flooding situation here. Not terrible. Gonna fix that right now. Love how I always notice these things after I start the video. Nowhere else? Good. All right, so like I said, there's an ombre, there's a French line, there's some dirt on my nails. What is going on here? Is that just dirt? Yeah, it's just dirt. Okay, let's get into the video, okay? Like I said, I already started off with my backfill. I use DGel Sparkling Rosé, as I've been doing for the past several videos, and maybe the rest of my life, because I absolutely love it. But for the French, I am using OPI's Buttafly, and it's Buttafly, one word. You can get this from a few sites. I don't know if you need a license to go to this site. I'll link it down below, LA Nail Supply. Or if you have a local supply store that does not require you to be licensed, you can get it there. Otherwise, you may have some trouble finding OPI's colors. But there are, I'm sure, plenty of Amazon finds out there with similar colors, so you can always pick that up. And I'm actually going to start out with the French, the ombre, the yellow ombre. And for the ombre aspect of it, I'm going to be using Born Pretty's Jelly Color JPF02. And I know I've already messed up the explanation, so we're just going to get on into it. I am going to do one coat on each nail of the JBF just to hide some of the sparkle from the Jimmy Gel. I want to dull it down a bit. It does kind of sort of show through in the sunlight, but that's not so off-putting. It is a beautiful sparkle, so why not sparkle and shine? But you just want to do a thin layer. And if you're going to start with your thumb like I usually do, go ahead and pop that in the lamp for a flash cure. All right, so we've got our base coat down. We're going to start going in with our yellow ombre now. So as an ombre usually is, I was going to say it usually covers half the nail, but it doesn't have to. It can be a very subtle, minimal ombre, but this one's going to cover half the nail. So we're going to cover from on my nail where the side wall, the nail extends past the side wall. And we're just going to pull the color up the nail. I'm going to do 2 coats, but let's start with the first one. Yellow can be very, very finicky, very temperamental in the lamp. So you don't want to put on too thick a layer. Otherwise it won't cure. Go ahead and grab your ombre brush. Make sure that it's dry and that the bristles are nicely splayed out and separated, because then you're going to lightly take the bristles and pull just the edge of the color down. I've seen lots of ways of doing ombre. This is the least chaotic one, and for me at least, yields the best results. So you can gently start pulling a little bit more once you blend out that line, just using the tips of the bristles. And then you can go ahead and take the paint that you've pulled down and kind of smooth it out so that you don't have those hash marks. If you don't like the way and I'm going to clean off the brush. I'm using acetone because it evaporates really quickly and will leave your brush dry mostly. And you're going to do a little bit more to make that blend a little bit more subtle. Right, once you have it the way you like it, I'm just going to a little bit more acetone to get rid of some of the yellow down from the bottom. You can pop it in the lamp and cure it. I may choose to ignore this little hair that's on my nail. Or not, I got it. All right, so give that a flash cure and then you can do your other nails, which we're going to do. I'm going to actually do them all at the same time. All right, now moving on to the other nails, we are going to do the same process. So covering half of the nail or as much of the nail as you desire. With whatever color you desire, you don't have to use yellow if you don't like yellow. Yellow's an odd color. Something really need the right shade because otherwise it can kind of make you look jaundiced. I never thought that I could wear yellow with my skin tone, but I actually quite love it. Of course, if I was to go fluorescent yellow, I think I would feel differently. All right, back to the ombre brush. And we're going to do the same thing as before, just lightly pulling down the color. I'm really just dabbing it. I'm not even really pulling it down. I'm just tapping it and blurring the line. Quick check to make sure I'm actually recording, because more oftentimes than not, I am not. Make sure you get the edges. And I picked up a piece of fuzz again when I just dabbed the bristles. quick check to see how the gradation goes and if we like it. All right, and go ahead and faff some more. If you are not familiar with British colloquialisms, faff means to fuss around. I just heard it in another video, which is why it was in my language for today. All right, once you get it the way you like it, go ahead and do a full cure. So for opacity's sake, we are going to do another coat. I'm going to bring it back down the nail a little bit towards the free edge. Make sure you cap your edges. And then just blend out that line again. Just making sure that light line is straight. And give it a little flashy flash. I keep panicking and looking at the phone to make sure I'm recording. Thankfully, I am. You can see it's so much easier to do an ombre this way than by trying to blend two wet colors together, because you will be blending and blending and blending until the end of time. This way you can just fade out the color over the other one. Of course, it's probably doesn't work for really dark or opaque colors. But when you're going from an opaque into a sheer, or vice versa, or if you're doing two sheer colors, it's a lot easier. I'm just trying to make sure that the tips have their full opacity. All right, when you have it the way you like it, cure it. There is one more step with completing this ombre, and that's just to take some more of your jelly pink and cover the bottom half of your yellow ombre. Not going to pull it all the way up the nail. You're just going to go halfway up to where that ombre settles. And then as we did with the yellow, we're just going to feather that out. And this is going to help hide some of those remaining hash marks if you have them. It's also going to help level out the nail, since we did two coats of a color up here and we didn't have anything up here to blend that center line, you want to make sure that you still have color evenly distributed over the length of the nail. I'm not going to bother flash curing. I'm just going to finish off the other nails. Actually, I lied because I don't want it to slide. So give it a 10-second flash. Okay, so you'll want to go ahead and do a coat of Velvet Matte Top Coat. I have Madame Glam's. I think it's actually only theirs. That's Velvet Matte. Regardless, you want to do a matte top coat. I love Madame Glam. This is the one that I have. This is one that I always use, and I highly recommend it. And we're going to be going in and doing a French accent line. So grab your favorite liner or your polish and your liner brush and go ahead and freehand, because it's really the only way to do this, unfortunately, your accent line. Do it on one side and try to match it up on the other. Of course, I'm showing you with my non-dominant hand, which always somehow winds up better than my dominant hand. I think I'm more focused when I'm using my non-dominant hand. Go ahead and check to make sure that it's even. It mostly is. And then you can go ahead and use a cleanup brush to get in there and clean up. It is a little bit higher than on my left hand, but I'm not going to fuss too much about it. When you're doing this, make sure you're dragging just the tip of the brush. Because if you press too hard, it's going to splay out the bristles and then you'll get a thicker line and you'll have less control over it. So once you have it the way you like it, go ahead and flash cure it before moving on to your other fingers. Okay, it took a bit, but we got the lines in there, and now we're going to go in with a secondary ombre, which I don't think I mentioned before. And that's the reason why I did a matte top coat, because instead of using liquid gel, we're going to use some pigment powder. Makes it a little bit easier, can be a little bit more detailed with it, and fade it out a little bit better. Also without adding more coats of gel and making it a very thick presentation. So you'll want white pigment powder. If you don't have loose pigment powder, you can use a makeup palette. If you have white eyeshadow, that works too. And a small application brush. And you're just going to kind of brush it in. I'm going lightly with my pressure just to get it where I want it, and then I will scrub it in a little bit harder, the areas where I want it a little bit more opaque. You can, of course, go over that white line that you just painted in, because you want it whiter at that line and more faded out the further you go away from it. Just like so. It's actually a very simple process. If you want to, you can lay in a little bit more white right at the line. Make sure if you blow on your nail like I just did, you make sure that the pigment powder that's in the cup on the table is not within reach of that puff of air, or else it will go all over the place. No need to cure, just move on to the next line. Or the next nail, rather. Okay, now I did blend the color a little bit further down the nail. You don't want it to really go past that delineation line. So you just take some acetone and wipe it away. And then also you can take it off your skin, although that's not really important for right now. Before we go in and finish off this manicure, we're going to go in and do some artwork. So I'm going to take my DGel full painting gel in yellow. I usually use, as you're probably aware if you've watched my videos before, I usually use Madam Glam. Actually, I want to fix this a little bit. It comes up a little bit further than I want. But I do not have the shade of yellow in Madame Glam. So I'm using DGel, which is just fine. We're going to create some leaves. So just taking a little bit on your brush, I want to go from the opposite side so that they line up. I'm just going to draw 2 semicircles. And then fill it in to create that oval leaf shape. And then I'm going to angle it so that the point of it is facing in towards where the stem will be, and create more going in a arc around the outside of the nail. And I'm going to do it on each side, like so. Okay, so now we're going to draw that center line, and we're going to take it from the top leaf down and around, like so. And then we're going to pull the paint from the bottom of it, from the bottom of each leaf to meet the center stem. This ensures that it's very delicate and natural looking, so that there's not too much gel on the nail, making it look bulky. And then you want to pull the tip out also, going in the opposite direction. I'm going to go ahead and cure that. I do want it a little bit more opaque, so I'm going to go over the leaves a little bit, but I want it cured first so I don't mess anything up. Okay, so I have some white on my palette. What I want to do is put in those 3 dots, or those trio of dots. So I'm going to do, I didn't really leave room. And then go ahead and give it a cure. All right, everything is cured, ready to go. We're going to now go and finish off the manicure with a thin base coat just to get that tacky layer back on the nail, and then a top coat. Remember always to do your thumbs separate before going in and doing the rest of your nails. And at this point, because we've got some powder on top of the nail, don't drag the brush up the nail because you're going to pull some of that pigment off. You want to just float the gel as thinly as possible once you get towards that area that has the white pigment powder. And make sure you cap your edges as well. I believe that's just pigment powder on my thumb, but I'm going to go ahead and wipe it with some alcohol anyway before sticking it in the lamp. Will also give me a chance to get this hair off of my nail. Hey. All right. Recording a video. I called her to check in. Nothing's changed. Someone came by to view the house, another single woman, but haven't heard anything yet. Yeah, potentially. She had said 2 people. All right, well, this has been the fastest manicure I've done in a while. My last one, the hand-painted Monet nails, took me 9 hours, if you watched that video. If you didn't, it will be linked in the cards, no doubt. And actually, I finished this manicure half an hour ago, but my sister called while I was finishing it, so I couldn't do the outro. So I'm doing it now. All right, that's it. I love how it turned out. I love the gentle gradation from the white to the yellow. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please drop them down below. All the information for the products I used will be in the description box below. I'm going to finish up with some cuticle oil, and that's going to do it. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you like this video, and I will see you in the next one.